Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. Today I'm going into a deep dive, pardon the pun, into the post-apocalyptic world of Iron Lung. From this point on, there is a spoiler warning in effect for the Iron Lung movie. So with that said, let's dive into the blood ocean of Moon 85 and learn why the world of Iron Lung works so well within the realm of cosmic horror. Let's begin with perhaps the strongest theme within the game and the movie, isolation. In the game, we play as an unknown convict forced to pilot a rusted old submarine known as the SM-8, nicknamed the Iron Lung. We quickly discover that the SM-8 was never designed to withstand the pressure of the depth we need to go to for the mission. So we are welded inside and the porthole is sealed. We are left to navigate the ocean with proximity sensors and a poor quality camera with a limited supply of oxygen. The movie goes further with this and explains that due to the viscous nature of the blood ocean, a normal camera is rendered useless, so the Iron Lung is equipped with an X-ray machine. Our only interaction with another person is at the very beginning of the game, where we are spoken to through the intercom and then left to our own devices with an incomplete map.
Beginning at descent. Cruising depth in roughly 40 seconds. Stand by. I'm seeing some voltage irregularities in the instruments, so keep an eye out for sparks or flames or anything like that. Approaching maximum depth. The hull's feeling it, but it's still holding strong. Closing porthole shielding. We're starting to lose radio signal. You'll be at cruise depth soon, so refreshing and be careful. You're on your own. Good.
However, the movie deviates from this. In the movie, the convict, whose name is Simon, communicates frequently with the captain of the ship carrying the Iron Lung. For the remainder of this video, I will be addressing the convict from the game as Ava, for a reason I will explain further into the video. While Simon's alone for the majority of the movie, his talks with the crew on the ship break up the monotony of the creaking of the submarine and pumping of the engine. We do get a brief glimpse of other people in the movie, when the Iron Lung is resurfaced, but this is only for a couple of minutes. Having Simon alone with no real glimpse of the outside world gives the viewer a sense of the impending threat lurking somewhere just beyond our perception. In the game, we only have the sounds of the ocean and the groaning of the submarine, sometimes punctuated with the click of the camera, which amplify the already creepy atmosphere of the game. Iron Lung utilises a PS1 era minimalist graphical style, designed specifically to evoke claustrophobia. It leans heavily into the industrial aesthetic, using low poly models, grainy textures and a dark confines within the SM-8, which forces the imagination of the player to fill in the horror. Another thing that benefits Iron Lung is the grainy imagery from the X-ray camera. The camera in the game shows only brief glimpses of the things outside, forcing the imagination of the player to fill in the gaps of the world and the things within it. This style choice allows Iron Lung to fit perfectly into the subgenre of cosmic horror, and the world building reflects this within its design. Iron Lung is set in the far reaches of space sometime after an event known as the Quiet Rapture. The information we receive surrounding this event is limited, but we discover that many years ago, every habitable planet and star vanished without a trace. The Quiet Rapture left only those living on space stations or on starships alive, with only the resources they had been carrying at the time. This sudden, unexplained cosmic event caused obvious panic, and survivors split into separate, opposing factions. The two main factions known to us are the Consolidation of Iron, consisting of 257 human survivors, and Eden, with 468. The Consolidation of Iron, or COI, was formed after the Quiet Rapture, and originally consisted of 4 space stations. This number was reduced to 3 when Filament Station was attacked by Eden, the largest of the stations not joined within the COI. This attack resulted in 9 days of fighting, rendering Filament Station as uninhabitable, and in the movie it is explained that 62 people died as a direct result. Prisoners taken during the battle were forced to undergo conviction realisation, which explains why Ava is trapped in the game and Simon is used in the film. Eden holds the only known trees left within the galaxy inside its interior garden, and the convicts kept within the Iron Lung are part of the conviction realisation programme, sent to carry out missions within the blood oceans of the two moons controlled by the COI. Now we've determined how our convicts ended up within the blood ocean of AT5, let's explore exactly what these oceans are and what might be truly lurking in the depths. Let's begin with the obvious. What exactly is the blood ocean? We discover through the terminal in the game that the blood oceans did not exist prior to the Quiet Rapture, and consist entirely of human blood. An unexplained phenomenon that has been identified on 4 separate moons since the Quiet Rapture. Moon AT5 and Moon Z8 are the most notable locations, as they're under control of COI. Enough research has been conducted on the blood itself to determine that it is indeed human blood, but we have not discovered where it comes from or how it keeps its liquid form. The ocean on AT5 is of particular interest because redacted. How these oceans formed and maintain their liquid state remains unknown. Also unknown is the nature and origin of the creatures living within it. Now, I have a theory as to what the creature in the movie actually is, and this is where the spoiler warning truly comes into effect. In the game, the Iron Lung is the SM-8, piloted by our unknown convict, Ava. However, the movie submarine is the SM-13, piloted by Simon. When I first watched the movie, I mistakenly thought I'd remembered the number wrong, given the layout and even the note found inside is identical to the game. The note itself reads, "This is not an expedition, it's an execution. When they put you in here, they don't want you to return. And even if you do, and if they keep their promises, what freedom waits for you? A few dying ships in a sea of dead stars. If there is still hope, it lies beyond the veil. Hope in this void is as illusionary as the starlight. I will choose to breathe my last here, at the bottom of an ocean, unseen, unheard, and uncontrolled. They will get their execution. I will get my freedom." This note highly suggests that Ava and Simon are not the first ones down. Around 2/3 of the way through the movie, Simon discovers the wreckage of the SM-8 inside the creature's cave. This can only mean that the movie takes place after the game. When he transfers the data from the SM-8 to the SM-13, we see some very familiar pictures. Pictures that capture the final moments of the ill-fated craft at the hand, or in this case, teeth, of the entity, known by players as the Frog. Throughout the entire game, we only catch small glimpses of the creatures. A face for a moment, an eye, and at the end of the game, the Frog bursts through the back of the submarine and kills the convict, ending the game. This lends itself perfectly into cosmic horror. Never quite knowing what's lurking outside, ready to kill. In the game, it isn't explained why the Frog is hunting us, but we are constantly reminded of its presence through noise and the photos, adding to the claustrophobic atmosphere. It is implied that the Frog lives within the ocean, likely feeding on the blood and seeing us as an opportunity for extra food. The movie implies something far, far darker. Throughout the movie, Simon occasionally makes contact with the blood, causing his skin to peel and his body begins to change due to prolonged exposure. These changes are severe, but what would happen to a person if they were potentially ingesting the contaminated blood? We hear that someone aboard the SM-8 began consuming the blood to sustain herself. The entity in the movie appears to have some form of psychological telepathic ability, where it can actively talk to Simon through the communication system, using a woman's voice to lure him to it. Could this be Ava's voice? And if so, how would the creature know what she sounded like? I think I may have made a horrifying realisation. Looking closely at this entity's appearance, dear gods, this thing is ugly, it appears to have been made from the same material as the walls of the cavern, which assumably is flesh. I can only apologise for that mental image. This thing blends into the cavern nearly perfectly, only visible from the pale glow of the eyes. The sheer number of teeth this thing has tells me that the entity is adapted exclusively to catch and crush its prey. Taking a closer look into the mouth, I apologise for doing this to you, so cruel are the necessities of analysis. The teeth are thin and densely packed into its maw, which reminds me of the tooth structure of a filter-feeding animal like a humpback whale, implying that the entity may be able to filter nutrients from the blood in the same way a whale eats krill. However, since this is cosmic horror and the entity must be a perceivable threat, the teeth are divided enough that it can eat larger prey when needed. Albeit contorted and deformed almost beyond recognition, but the positioning of the eyes and mouth, not to mention the appearance of nostrils right in the middle of the top lip, there's something almost human about it. I don't believe this to be a creature. I think this may be Ava, the pilot of the SM-8. It's a crazy theory, I know, but just bear with me. In the film, when Simon reveals that he has found the wreckage of the SM-8, the captain seems highly surprised, giving the impression that the sub has been missing for quite some time. We aren't given a specific time frame as for how long it has been gone, but it would be a safe estimate to be at least a few weeks to possibly a few months. Here's where my theory comes in. I'd like to bring your attention to this anomaly we see. This anomaly appears to be some form of light, and when Simon is lured towards it, he sees glimpses of another world, which could potentially be what the entity sees. The entity talks about this anomaly as though it is sentient, referring to both the light and itself as we. This makes me believe that this anomaly could be the answer the COI is hunting for, and could somehow be the cause of the quiet rapture. Given how the entity switches from trying to lure Simon into the light to attempting to destroy him before the information from the SM-8 can be discovered, I believe the blood may somehow be a collective consciousness. The entity is simply the physical manifestation of the consciousness, created simply to protect the anomaly. Since we don't seem to find anything else alive within the blood ocean in the film, I believe it corrupted and transformed Ava into the entity that now stalks Simon. Here's what makes me think this. Throughout the audio recordings Simon picks up from the SM-8, we learn that Ava began consuming the blood to sustain herself. Simon is only submerged in the blood for a short period, around 15 to 20 minutes, as a rough estimate, given that the captain only gives him 30 minutes to get the data from the SM-8 and deliver it to her. We see Simon beginning to merge with the iron lung itself during his attempt to get the data back to the surface, going as far as to losing his arm in the process. These changes are severe and very quickly incorporated, even from such a short exposure to the blood. Imagine what could happen if someone was submerged in it for weeks or months. At the end of the game, we see the frog break through the back of the iron lung and the screen fades to black just as it reaches us, where we assumably die and go back to the beginning of the game. What if Ava wasn't killed by the frog in that moment, but was instead pulled into the ocean, kept alive by the anomaly until she had time to evolve to survive in the environment? We've already seen the extent of transformation reached by Simon from just a short exposure, so the anomaly likely wouldn't have to sustain her for long before she could survive, and it could easily have corrupted her mind as it was doing so. The entity seems to worship the anomaly almost as a god, something capable of causing universe-ending events seemingly without warning, simply because it can. The quiet rapture has already been compared to the rapture featured in existing religious texts, such as the Bible, within the game. Even the name of Eden comes from the Bible as humanity's last hope. The anomaly could be compared to a god following that logic. Ava could have been corrupted during her transformation, and now acts as the voice of the anomaly, drawing in more followers, and defending it when its sense of control is threatened. Ava's voice is used by the anomaly to trick Simon, and given the almost human appearance of the entity, it seems plausible, even likely, that the entity is Ava. Twisted and changed into a lethal predator designed specifically to survive within the Blood Ocean and defend the anomaly that offered her her salvation, which meant becoming one with the anomaly as she did. This accelerated evolution seemed to be attempting to link physically with Simon to stop him from getting the information about the anomaly to the humans above, contributing to my idea of the collective consciousness. If the anomaly is indeed responsible for the Quiet Rapture, it would do anything it could to protect itself, trying to corrupt Simon to stop him from revealing the truth that could potentially help humanity recover, eventually sending Ava to kill him instead. In the movie, Simon is able to release the information in a life jacket before he is able to implode the SM-13 inside Ava's mouth, possibly killing her and himself. However, the more likely result, if I'm correct about the collective consciousness, is that both Ava and Simon's consciousness would have been absorbed by the anomaly and brought into salvation. This is the beauty of cosmic horror. Whichever ending is true, we may never know, but our imaginations can take us anywhere to an unknown number of possibilities. Take this video as an example. I've been pondering this since I watched the movie, and that was a couple of weeks ago. As usual, thank you for watching. I appreciate everyone who's taken the time to watch this video. If you enjoy content like this and you would like to see more of this from me, please leave me a comment and a like of games you would like me to do deep dives on. This video was a lot of fun to do, and I would like to do some more in the future, if that's what you want to see. With that said, I will leave you with the haunting image of the entity, and I will see you in next week's video. Thank you for watching. Bye!